Old synthesizers are like gambling. 50-50 whether it's gonna turn on or not. The odds are in the synthesizer's favor that it's not gonna turn on. Why isn't it working? Oh, it's working. This is an ARP 2500 and it's one of the holy grails for me. It's one of those things that when it turns up, you get down, you kiss the ground, and you hope to God you can get it. You recognize the sound from Hunky Dory? Hose. Whoa, hose. Was developed in 1971. Like many of these early synthesizers, it's a modular synthesizer. Do you know what this means in Alien? It means park your spaceship over there. So the way the synth works, like if you ever saw my video on the VCS3, very similar. It has a matrix system here. What's amazing about this synth is that this system of matrix, instead of cables, right? Essentially you're using this pin system instead of the cables, is it sets up this amazing thing. So if I come out, let's say on number 4, and I can go in on number 4 anywhere on the synthesizer. But what's cool about the sequencer is instead of sending note information, at the end of the day, it's just sending voltage. It's no different than if you're hitting a keyboard. It's doing the same thing. It's sending voltage to the oscillator, but it can send voltage to other things. So because it's modular, you can send voltage to the filter, right? You can send voltage to an envelope generator. So the sequencer doesn't just have to be for note information. The greatest thing for me about the synthesizer is it allowed me to meet Pete Townsend. I was at the Sunset Marquee and I was having breakfast and I look over and I'm like, oh my God, there's Pete Townsend. And then I'm thinking like, what do I say, right? I don't just want to go over and say, I like his music. I know he used an ARP 2500 quite extensively. I walk over and he's looking at me and I was like practicing in my head and I say, hello Pete, I got an ARP 2500 and you helped inspire me to get it. And he looks at me and he says, is it working? Yes, it's working perfectly. Where'd you get it? I tell him, and he says, it's such a great synth. And to this day, it still gets sounds I feel that you can't get on anything else. Talked a little more about the synth and spent a little time, and it was one of the great moments for me. And I feel like this synth enabled that moment. Complicated, right? Let me actually start with the bass sound. Oh, wait a second, I think I know. Is it working? There we go. Okay, got it. Magic. Look, Mom, one hand. This is one of the most famous filters in all of synthesis. It was developed by a man named Dennis Collin. It's called a state variable filter. It's a low pass, band pass, notch pass, and a high pass all in one. This filter is incredible. You can hear the resonance is really beautiful on it. I can spend 3 hours on a filter move. It's kind of sad, but I can. When they talk to the aliens, this is the synth that they used to do it on. That's it.